Greetings and welcome to Smartwatch Ticks. We're a YouTube channel on the web at smartwatchticks.com. Today we're taking the 5 top flagship Android standalone smartwatch phones, and we're going to do the left-right brain integration and try to give you some facts, but mostly give you the feel for these different watches. They are all awesome watches. I've tried to line them up by front camera placement, left, top, right. Other than that, we're just going to dive in and take a look at them. A few things up front, I'm not putting bands on them. I got all my bands all mixed up, and I'm not going to evaluate it based on, is this a better band than that? Because they're all replaceable. It's a non-issue. Secondly, I'm not going to really go into battery life on these. I'm going to tell you battery capacity, and that's subject to interpretation. But in terms of actual battery life, I've got some of those in some of the different videos. It's just too hard to do all across the board right now. Let's dive in. On the far left-hand side, with a front-facing camera to the left and a forward-facing camera that looks out, the only one with the second camera going this way is the Chronos Blade Genesis. Here it is, lit up. Let's talk about it. It's got about 730 milliamp hour battery in it, which is on the low side, but it has some good things going for it, like a transflective screen, which means outdoors it'll reflect the light and be actually brighter than any of the other watches. It's the only one like that. It means you can run the brightness at the lowest level and extend battery life out longer because of that. Usually the battery life is the hardest thing on a battery. So you've got a front-facing camera for selfies, and again, a forward-facing camera out this way, so it'll work on the left arm or the right arm and be pointed forward. Those are the two really good things going for this, the forward-facing camera and the transflective or reflective screen. Other than that, the Genesis comes in with a 320 by 320 screen, and it's 1.54 inches, which is close to the smallest one in here. We'll show you all the sizes in a moment. That's the Genesis. Now we get into these other ones that have forward-facing cameras at the top. This big boy is the brand new S08. We turn that puppy on, and you can see it's got the forward-facing camera and a microphone right there, and the side camera, it goes this way, not from the top. All of the rest of these, the other camera, the landscape view type camera, is off to the left. Full screen. This is also the largest screen of all of them. The S08 comes in at 1.69 inches. It's 450 by 450 resolutions, and it's a TFT display. You can see it really clearly to the edge on either side, but in bright light, it's going to wash out. When you have high contrast, white against black, like this particular watch face or a digital one, and you're in the bright sunlight and you cover and shield the screen, you can read the time. But you're going to have a hard time like looking at your trajectory on a Google map or something like that. What else about it? It's coming with a 1360 milliamp hour battery. That's the biggest one of the lot. And honestly, we'll compare these thicknesses later. They're all about the same thickness, but you see how this one kind of tapers down a little bit, and this one is like fat to the edge. And of course, it's a bigger, fatter watch overall because of that larger screen. So much larger watch, much larger battery, much larger screen than the Genesis, actually than any of the other ones here as well. That's the S08. So Genesis for transflective screen, forward-facing camera. This one, the S08, larger, waterproof. I didn't touch on that thing. This is the only one of the group that I would comfortably say, yep, you can probably dunk this in water. We're doing that in one of the review videos. The way it's sealed, put together. Awesome for waterproof capability. Now we go to the tiniest one of the lot, right next to the biggest one. You can really see the difference here in the size of the screens, can't you? This is the Thor 5, and it's got forward-facing camera at the top and a tiny little side camera over here. By the way, I'm not talking about camera resolutions. Those are all in the videos separately, and they are different. They're typically no bigger than 5 megapixels on all of them. The camera modules at the largest size, but the images are 8 megapixels for the 5 megapixel cameras. And that's because they do a thing called up interpolation. They make the image size larger by doing something fancy with the pixels so that you can display it like at a larger size and print it out and all that kind of stuff. But the true actual resolution is 5 megapixels. Some of the forward ones are also 5, some are lower. In fact, I think on the Thor 5 Pro, no, I don't have that one. This is the LEM12 coming up. It's got the lowest resolution forward-facing camera of all, but we digress. Anyway, here we go, and talking about the screen for the Thor 5, we got 454 by 454 pixels, it's claimed, and 1.39-inch AMOLED screen. AMOLED is ones where each pixel is lit up individually, and because of that, it's low power if you have a lot of black in your screen because there's no backlight. Each pixel's illuminated. So you can put on those long-term type of always-on display options on AMOLED watches, any of them, and extend the battery life and also have an always-on watch. It's a third-party application. But this particular one also has a mode that you can go into that gives you an always-on screen. It's a dual processor one. It's the only one of the lot like this, and it's the last of a dying breed of many of them we had that were the same size as this, 1.39 inches from 2019-ish, 2018, 2019. The bad thing about that is it really drains the battery. You get about 5 hours, maybe 6 hours of life out of this if you use that feature, which is really, really sad. But it has it. It's the only one that has the always time or always on display when it times out of this. And by the way, these are all set to really long on right now, which is for the video. But if you have it typically set to 15 seconds or something, when this screen goes out, it would light up a different one. Want to see that? Look at the full review. It's all done there. Next, we come over here. Wow, look at the build quality on this puppy. And who am I looking at? This is the LEM12. I know my children by eyesight. Forward-facing, side-facing cameras, and carbon fiber looking back. Really exquisite watch design. You see the 4 big screws here. That's what you use to open the whole back, which runs all the way around here. And I just for a moment want you to contrast that back with this one, where we don't have any screws. We got some tiny little recessed holes right here that, I don't know, may or may not go down into really tiny screws. And it's sealed right around the edge there. And, well, just this is the one that they really put focus on waterproofing. This has a SIM cover that has a screw on it and probably a gasket inside of here. This is coming close to something that might be waterproof, but the fact that this extends all the way out into these tips where you hook the band on makes it, well, a lot more susceptible to potential water intrusion. IP67 is a spec that's supposed to allow you to take these things underwater for up to a meter for, 30 minutes. But China has really loosey-goosey with that to where IP67 just basically means splash-proof. It'll probably survive splashing, but not much else. This one goes IP68, and it says actually to a higher standard, 5 ATM, which means you could take it down underwater 50 meters. That's 150 feet, gang, for 48 hours. Yeah, big difference. These other ones, not really. Splash proof is about the best you can get. Both of these, you see they have little snap-in SIM covers. In fact, the same back design basically on these. And that's not really good for water intrusion. Even sweat can get in here. So if you have a watch like this, make sure you put tape over here, okay? If you're not going to use the SIM at all, or if you put one in there and leave it there, as soon as you put it in, put some waterproof tape over the SIM covers if they just snap in and out, okay? If they screw in solid like that, or are, wow, really done like this, no need to tape it. They're probably going to be good. This one I'd tape anyway. That one, though, that's, yeah, really good design on this one. Finally, we get to the Cosbet Prime. Okay, but before we did that, did I cover everything on the LEM12? I got the 900 milliamp hour battery in this one, so it's lower. The Thor 5 battery, that comes in at 545 milliamp hour. That's probably why it's such a short life when you're in that always time mode. 545 milliamp, 900 milliamp. This one was, what, 730? Then we got up to this Himungo guy at 1360, and the Prime is 1260. So this was the first really large battery claim, and then this one is even larger. And you can see from the size of these that, yeah, this has got a whole lot more internal area than this one does, which is way, way more than this one. You can see how that's just going to have to be a tiny battery in there to get all the other electronics. All right, we're outside right now, and I'm going to give you an overview of what these guys look like in filtered sunlight. It's in and out of clouds right now, and I can barely see the camera screen. So I'm on the Genesis. I want to show you that if I unlock it with the first touch and slide down, there's what it looks like for that screen. Now, here is the S08, and you can see the sun's getting a little brighter. There, I slid it down. That's what everything looks like. Gosh, can you see that? Trying to get the reflections not to hit. Okay, there's the Genesis, the S08. Here we are on the Thor 5 Pro, right? Slide down from that. That's what we look like here. Good, it's going in and out of clouds, so you get a little feel for both ways. Here's a high contrast screen on all of these I've tried to do. The LEM12. Here's what the screen looks like when you pull it down. And then here's another white against black screen on the Cosbet Prime, and that's what its screen looks like here. So there's a perspective in filtered sunlight now. Got some good shade going of what they all look like. Notice they're all full bright. I'm going to take the Genesis down to full dim. Medium brightness. Are you on the screen there? Yeah. And full brightness. And you can't tell any change at all in the backlighting. So I actually can run this one all the way down like that if I wanted to. That's the benefit of the transflective screen. The last thing I want to show you is to come over here into fitness. That now is a black and white screen of the normally colorful outdoor run. If I do that here, as the light gets dimmer now, makes it actually better overall on the S08. Are you seeing it? Do you see the outdoor bike button? Okay, here we go on the Thor 5 Pro Fitness. Okay, there it is on here. Here, we got those three going. And now the LEM12. And finally, the Cosbet Prime. Okay, got good filtered sun now. This would be a nice overcast day, lightly overcast. And I have no idea what you're seeing. I cannot even see really my camera screen. But from looking at them, I can definitely tell you the Genesis is much brighter. As the sun gets brighter, it gets more transflective. The S08, marginal. Compared to the Thor 5 Pro, the Thor 5 Pro is easier to read. It's a little brighter. I'm mainly looking at the white figure here versus the bicyclist there. Let's see if I take it back to outdoor run. There's the same thing. You see the color picture behind here, barely. The two people standing there. Can you see that figure? There's the white person. There's the one right in the beginning again. And I can see the color picture somewhat. Can you see both of those on the Thor 5 Pro? So best is Genesis, second Thor 5 Pro. These guys, same thing. You can barely make out the color picture in the back, but you can pretty well tell at least where the outdoor run button is on these three. They're pretty much the same. Whatever screen we got going on here. All right, now we're getting some bright sun. I know if I talk long enough, you get it. One more time through. The the Genesis transflective screen, the S08 TFT, the Thor 5 Pro, I don't know. I don't have them all memorized. The LEM12, LEM12, and I'm going to see these in my sleep. And finally, the Cospet Prime. And if I get in here, I'm in the shade. There it is in the bright sun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does that guy satisfy your outdoor curiosity? It should. Now, as a comparison baseline, so you can see how the brightness actually is indoors. I haven't changed the thing. I just came in from the sunshine. Check these out. Definitely the brightest one, full brightness on all of these now, is the Thor 5 Pro, followed by, oh no, don't dim on me, babe. Oh no, they're all starting to dim. It's been long enough. I got to touch the screens. I feel like the guy with the plates on TV, twirling them, keeping them going. Okay, brightest is definitely Thor 5 Pro, followed by Cospet Prime and Genesis are tied, it looks like. A little bit more color rendition here, a little bit on the bluish side here. This is definitely white, full color, really almost too bright for the camera. These two guys, the S08 and the LEM12, identical, I'd say. Pretty much until you look straight on the Prime. The Prime is slightly brighter than these two. All of these have the same color tone, it looks like. These two are different. And that's definitely the best for indoors, and it's second best to outdoors, and Genesis, of course, is best outdoors. But that's only talking about the brightness of the screens outside. You still have everything else to consider on comparing these watches. This is a big watch. This is a heavy watch. It's got my camera app on it, too, right now, getting ready for the full review. This one is very comparable, so if you wanted to compare two large watches. The Prime is coming in at 1.6-inch screen. The S08 1.69-inch, almost 1.7, still the biggest screen. You got the front-facing camera here and the side-facing camera here. So they've combined the two cameras on one side on this one. Here they're at the top. I'm going to talk a second. I'm jumping all over. I know that. But when you're wearing this, if you're wearing it on the left-hand side and you're moving around and doing face conferencing, or doing a video log or something, and you're touching your screen, having the camera at the top or on the left-hand side is the ideal location if you're wearing it on your left arm, okay? Because you're going to be touching the screen here. The drawback I see of this one was the placement of that front camera, where if you want to do anything, you're going to be putting your finger between your face and the camera, and it's going to be annoying to whoever you're talking with. So, bad placement, practically the worst placement. The really worst placement, I think, was the LEM7 that was on the bottom. And not only was it on the bottom, it wasn't pointed forward, it was angled under your, I guess it was a mistake. I'll call it a mistake. That's the best I could say. But that one's out there too. I won't call it a flagship. It's a bit older. These are the current ones in top of the line for each of these manufacturers. So the Prime, 1260 milliamp hour battery, 400 by 400 resolution, 1.6-inch IPS screen. The LEM12, by the way, same screen exactly, 400 by 400, 1.6-inch IPS. Okay. What else? There you have it. I'm at a loss for words. I really like this one. If I were going to choose, I'd be sitting here going, what am I going to do with my watch? If I want to make sure that it's okay to get wet, then I would go with this one. If I want a really big watch, easy to see with my fading senior eyes. Oh, I wouldn't say that. My advanced millennial eyes, right? We just don't say which millennial. Then a watch with a big screen is a great idea. When you put it on, now without a band, I can show it to you like this, you're going to find that thing is big. And because it hangs off, I've got a medium average guy's adult arm, and you can see with the bands on it. Well, you'll see in the video, I have the bands. It's going to be big on the arm. There's just no way around it. Now, you can tighten it up really good, and that's okay, but it's going to be really large. These guys, this is going to be kind of on the large side too, but not as large, but it's really thick. These watches with huge batteries in them, there's no way around it. There's only one battery technology they're all using. They're just sizing the batteries differently. So if you want something that's really long life, you're going to pay for it by overall size and weight. So these two, great for battery probably, and very thick. You're getting a little bit thinner, not much. You're coming down in size here. And then you're down to a tiny little thing if you've got thin wrists, female, or a child, adult, teenager. Then this is a good size watch for you to wear. It won't look too overly large, but it's got its limitations we've already talked about. So there you go, kind of a quick comparison of all of these. I'm going to put the buying link for each of them in the show notes down below, and the link to the actual detailed reviews of each one of them. I know you have hundreds of more questions about them, and I only got to a few points. There's different types of charging connectors. Some have docks, some have wires. But overall build quality, you can kind of see just by looking at them how they fare with each other and against each other. You got microphones and speakers, all different places on these. This one I like, speakers on the side, and it actually comes out and reflects off your arm and back up again, and it's really nice and loud. Other ones are in different places. This one and this one have the speaker on the bottom, underneath a lip here. Keeps it away from getting water in it, potentially. Same with this one. The sound comes out from below, so if you put it up to your ear, your arm is facing your ear. If you're having trouble hearing a call, it makes it a convenient place to put it right on your ear, those guys. You see how you could just go on and on forever with these? Shoot, I don't even see that. Okay, the speaker here on the Prime, below the cameras, right near the body, could get water in there. I don't know. I don't know if anybody's had trouble with that. By the way, we're talking about waterproofing. This has got a really large back here. It's screwed on here, but that metal could get warped a little bit, so I would definitely tape it over to protect it. This one's the one with the screw on it. That's pretty good. This is better than that for waterproofing because it's a smaller area. These two are the worst of all for water intrusion through the back. And then this one, of course, being totally waterproof, is a phenomenal new, complete new design type. All right, I'm going to stop now while we're ahead. I don't know if we're ahead or not, but there you go. The family of standalone, meaning you have to put a SIM card in them to make them work as a phone. So you use standalone smartwatch phone. That's how they're described. They're a standalone phone that doubles as a smartwatch. None of these guys tether to your actual phone for receiving phone calls. Okay, that technology went out in Android 5.1. So the newer flagship watches, none of them can Bluetooth tether to your phone for phone calls. So don't misinterpret that. You'll need to go to Android Wear, like the the TicWatch, or go to Samsung for the Galaxy Watch if you want that kind of tethering. None of these guys have NFC chips in them. That's not in this possibility. So you're not going to be doing touchless transactions in a COVID world. Again, the Tyson watches with Samsung Pay, the Apple Watch with Apple Pay, Google Pay on the Wear OS type watches, you can get that kind of feature. But for Android watches, if you're sold on this kind of technology, these are the ones you're looking at. Bezel, nice, bright, reflective, flat surface going across it. Oh, you saw face unlock? That's in all of these things too, using the front-facing camera. The firmware now is set up so that you can unlock your watch automatically using your face. Lots of other features. Here's another shiny bezel one, but it's curved and raised a little bit. Just depends the appearance that you'd like. Here's one that's actually got numbers and things around it. Looks more like a watch. This has got this extended shiny bezel overlay on top of a matte black finish here. Very much similar, the Prime and the S08. And the Genesis is over here with its flat round bezel and camera on the side. This is the only one tapered but shiny, and they're all shiny except that one with the... All right, I'm done. I've taken up enough of your time. Thanks for watching, guys. We really do appreciate your subscription and your help with giving us likes on these videos. And again, check the show notes down below for links to the individual videos. And actually, I'll just put the links to the videos, because if you're interested in buying them, use the link in the video, because those I keep updated with coupons and things like that. So we'll just direct you to the full reviews of each of these watches, and from there, if you're interested, please use the links we provide you, because that gives us credit for the watches and helps keep the next wave of flagship watches coming in for you to take a look at on our channel. Again, smartwatchtics.com. Tell your friends. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.